avoid work, then we can talk for another few minutes after that. So the topic today is really 30-second commercial. Just out of curiosity, how many people have heard that term before? Just show of hands.
60.
60, some are 60. Depends on what networking group. There might be 120, right? But yeah, 60-second, 30-second. What is another name for it? There's a
elevator pitch.
Yeah. That's a horrible picture of an elevator, but that is a pitch, right? So you think about it for a second. When you go out and you talk to different organizations and you have to present who you are and what you do, some people call it a pitch. Does anybody know the genesis of how they came up with the name elevator pitch? There's a whole history behind it.
I can make a guess. As
Give a
far
guess.
as like what it kind of means pitch. So like when you throw it, they can either hit it or not.
Okay, good.
More or less. So it's like you have either you're gonna do well or bad.
Yeah, that's good. That's it. Yeah. What else?
The idea was for you to be able to sell yourself or your company on an elevator ride from the ground up to wherever. So that short amount of time that you had to be able to effectively sell yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Talk about the pitch portion.
Yeah, and that's true, right? You've got a little bit of both in there, right? But yeah, the idea is that if you're in an elevator, you've got to be able to effectively articulate your value and your message and your information from the bottom floor to whatever level you're going up to. You got to hope that it's a taller building, right, to get out more of what you want to say. So during our conversation today, I'm going to get you guys engaged. I'm going to ask you to be involved. Is that okay for you guys? I'm not a fan of just standing up and talking for 45 minutes. So if you're all right with that, I'm going to ask you some questions and get you involved as well, too. So let's kind of talk about this for a second. So when you think about a target audience, and you're selling your product and your services, who are some of the target audiences? Think about the places that you might have a need to use 60 or 30-second elevator pitch or commercial. Where would that be? I've heard B&I and networking groups. Where else might you have to be able to articulate to somebody who you are and what you do, besides like a networking group?
An employer?
Employer?
Dating.
Potential employer?
Potential, yeah, that's great. Where else?
I would dating.
Dating. I didn't have that up there, but I probably should put that up there, right? I didn't think about that. Yeah, so potential employers, yeah, Peter.
Whenever you need a decision maker, target decision maker.
Sure, whenever you need a decision maker. So there's certainly existing customers, right? Because we may have to continually articulate who we are, what we do. We may start with a relationship, but we got to grow it. Networking, we talked about, B&Is, things like that. How many people are actively involved in things like B&I or other types of networking? Just by a show of hands. Okay. Does anybody ever feel that when you go to those events that you have to sell? You feel like this need that you got to get out this information about who you are in a very short period of time, and it's stressful, or is that just me? You guys ever feel that? On occasion. Okay. So business networking is certainly one place where you have to be able to articulate who you are, what you do. Potential employers, you're often having to sell yourself. That's at the crux of everything that we do here, right? And sometimes I've talked to companies that are having to sell themselves. That's more of that elevator pitch, right, where you've got to sell to an investor group. But we're going to focus more today on our business, right? How do we go out and effectively articulate who we are, what we do, and get across that there's value that we bring to the table? So, just out of curiosity, how many people here within your business have responsibility for hiring? Everybody? Any? Okay. So, real quick question. If someone were to send you a resume, you never met with this person before, but they send you a resume, would you hire solely on the resume? Never, right? Okay. Anybody else been in a situation where you have had to hire someone and you've hired solely based on just a resume? Probably not, right? So think about your 30-second commercial. The goal is you want to get a 5-minute conversation, right? So I always ask people when I do these types of talks, has anybody ever sold your product or service as a result, direct result, of that 30 or 60-second commercial right down there? Anybody ever done that? You have, okay, great. Can I hire you? Because there's not many, I don't think you've ever been in a group where someone has said they've done it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was more lucky than anything else in the right place, the right time with the client.
All right, so there was a need, and it was immediate.
Right.
Okay. But the typical situation is you're not going to hire someone solely based on a resume or based on a 30-second commercial. So let me just get an understanding. I know we've got a lawyer here, a phone guy. computer IT for legal services, right? So what are some other industries? Psychology, I know we talked about that. What are some other industries that are here? Yeah.
Hosted software.
Hosted software. Okay, an example of that might be, just so that I
We
know.
run nonprofit organizations.
Okay, so hosted software on behalf of nonprofits. Okay, great. Other industries?
Online marketing.
Online marketing.
Software development.
Software. Okay, so there's a real diverse group here. So it's not likely that just via a phone call or a quick 30 or 60-second overview that you're going to sell your product or service. So the idea with this, the goal is you want to generate enough interest so that people want to have a 5-minute conversation with you. It might be over the phone, might be online via a webinar, whatever the case may be. Here's the problem though. When you think about 30-second commercials, just your experiences, what have they been mostly? It doesn't have to be yours, but when someone's talking to you about who they are, what they do, what are they doing more often than not?
Talking about themselves.
Yeah, they're talking about themselves, right? What are some of the things that you hear when you, I mean, there's some folks here that go to networking events like BNI and things like that. What are some of the things that you hear from people who are standing up and talking about their company? What are some of the standards? Anybody?
Their skills.
Their skills? Yeah, that's a good one. What else?
The best.
We're the best. I love that one. We are the best provider of ABC, whatever. Anything else that you hear regularly when people talk to you about their industry? How about, you know, we've been in business for 47 years. We have 27 locations. You know, we're known and we've gotten these awards or accolades or things like that. Anybody ever heard those types of things? It's fairly common, right? But it's all about them. So, if we think about it, I want to talk to you a little bit about what it really shouldn't be. Now, look, I don't have all the answers as it relates to this, but I've worked with lots of companies. My background is first and foremost a business owner. So, for 20 years, we built a business, and my role as one of those owners was to identify, hire, train business development people that are selling to the litigation space. And I did that for a long time. And we had 355 employees, and 55 or 60 of them were in sales. And I thought we did a pretty good job articulating, but you know, as you get out there, you still find more and more that people are selling and they're talking about them and their business. So here are some things just that I've pulled that I think they're not. It shouldn't be canned. So when you walk out of here today, I don't want you to think that it all has to be one way. You're probably going to have 3 or 4 different versions of your commercial, and they're going to change or vary depending on what audience you're in front of. Shouldn't be a laundry list of features and benefits. But that's normally what people hear, right? So ideally, and I'm going to ask you guys at the end, if there's 1 or 2 things that you picked up as a result of our conversation today that you can take away and apply to your world. All the time, right? Let me tell you about all the great reasons why you should work with our company. We're the best at this, we've been awarded that, we've got all the, and look, I'm not saying that's unimportant, but unless it means something to the person you're talking to, it probably doesn't have as much relevance, right? At least not yet. And for the networking thing, you're not necessarily doing a pitch per se. It's really more of trying to help people understand who you are, what you do, and a lot of that means you're not talking about